Hi, welcome to my channel. I wanted to share the first journal that has been reserved for Linda. I posted a video last week and the response I got from my journals was amazing. And this, like I said, this is reserved for Linda and it will be sent off to her tomorrow or today after I do the video. And I just wanted to do a quick flip through. Linda, if you don't want to see, don't watch it. It is full. It has a 2-inch spine. It has a tassel full of all kinds of fun charms. And I left little tails on the strings and the ribbon. So if Linda wanted to add any of her favorite charms, she can. So she's not limited. So it has a 2-inch spine and it is so full. However, I had a great time working on it. This, I did little corner protectors on here because the corners were a little bit rough. This had a UPC code and I covered it up. And now it's a ticket that says Santa's Visit. I thought it went good with the front. The bag wasn't in great shape, so I went ahead and covered it with some October Afternoon paper. And like I said, I used tons of October Afternoon in here. So let's do a quick flip through. I have beads going all over. Okay, let's look through here. You know what? I'm going to pull this up so it's not in the way. And this is a detachable tassel, but I'm not going to detach it now. This is a pocket. It's a Tim Holtz die and filled the pocket with just fun things. So Santa's here, candy canes, little candles. I thought that went well with that page. Snowman and snowwoman. Little tree. This little guy, I thought he was adorable. And a candy cane. Get in here. So this is a pocket, and inside the pocket I have our favorite Christmas. And she could write down decorations, favorite decorations, ornaments, carols, food, drink, smell book, music, movie, moments, best cookie, and the biggest cookie monster goes to. So I thought that was a little fun thing. Okay, that's pocket number 1. Jingle bells. And here's a cluster that I did and turned into a pocket. And it's full of all October Afternoon. Everything's October Afternoon on here except for the material. I loved how this came out. It's vellum that has the snowy, sparkly look, and I thought it was pretty, but before that page. The kids are hanging their stockings over here, and so I did a stocking here. This is a time card, and it has December 25th, 2003 on it. I stamped it, and this has October Afternoon in there, and then there's a felt tree. And so I just folded the time card up and turned it into a pocket. And that I paper clipped. I paper clipped a lot of things in here so they can be moved, because some people use these as December dailies. and say that she doesn't want this on this page, she can move it. And this journal will come with a big ephemera pack and also numbers for each day if she wants to do a December daily. And so this can be glued down and turned into a pocket, but I just paper clipped it just so she has some options. This is an image from KB and Friends, and I added stickles, some sparkles to the holly and the berries. So the berries has stickles on it, and then I used Wink of Stella to make his little cheeks and his lips, just so they're a little shiny. This is an ideals page, and these are from October afternoon also. They were little circles that I punched out, and I tried to use these on the end of my signature ties, and I tried to correlate with what was on the page. So this is the center of my signature, so there's candles in here, and so I did a candle, and then on that side, December 25th, and a little clock. And then on that side, some kids with, it looks like candles glowing. And there's a little girl on this page. Okay. So this is just some stationery. So there is lots of spaces in here for journaling. However, it's full of stuff, so you could move it around so you can journal, and there's hidden spots. And stay till the end because I really have a surprise at the end. So on my last video, I showed how I did these. This is a paint chip and it says Moss Point Green, and I used a die and cut that out, and then put some vellum and some tulle behind that were sparkly. And then over here, the tree that I cut out, I added to this little checklist. And this said Glidden on it, and I just covered it up with a wax seal. I love how this page, again, this is the flip side of that vellum with the sparkly snow and how that turned out. This is vintage or retro ribbon. And this little reindeer tucks in there, and he's from October afternoon. I just think he's adorable. He or she. This is a recipe card. It's a good size recipe card, and it just fit, and the colors seem to go well with that page. Each one of these junk journals that I've done is going to be slightly different. So if you want to come back and watch the other videos, I'll continue doing videos to show you how they came out. Do you remember when there was post-it where they folded, they were a piece of paper that folded and you put the stamp and you wrote on the inside? Well, what I did is I added a poinsettia, and I tucked this in. I believe they came with little gold seals, and I do have the gold seals, but I really liked the look of this. And then that tucks right back in there. So I thought that was a nice addition. And I've been saving these for something special, and I think that's pretty special. This little girl is one of my favorite images. So I just had to throw her in there. I just love how she's standing on a stool and then has books and says High Hopes, and she's hanging a wreath. Love that. This is Santa on some stationery. You know how our ledger paper sometimes has little holes that you could put them in a binder. Well, I left those holes and thought it was fun just to add some of this fun ribbon. This is tinsel, and these, the white ones, I believe I got from Walmart. And so they have the little balls, and then they have wire. and they only had white this year, but I just think they just add fun stuff to our journals. And it can be removed if Linda doesn't like that. Okay, I have a doily, snowflake doily. And this is a Santa napkin that I ironed on freezer paper and cut him out. So it made him very sturdy in here. This is a coloring book page of Santa and Mrs. Claus. And I tucked it in here in this little pocket so it can be colored. This I showed how to make these. It's the bottom of a bag. And sometimes we don't use this part. We just cut it off so we could use the bag as a pocket. So what I did is kept the bottom of the bag, tied a bow on it, and filled them with different items. So it's like receiving a little gift. And a friend of mine pointed out too, it would be a great idea to put gift cards in there too. So let me tie this back real quick. The tie probably won't be pretty when I'm on camera, but we'll see. It works for now. And that could be glued down too. I just wanted to give the buyer options where she would like to put them. This I showed how to make. It's a coffee cup and the lid comes off and you could write little notes in there. And then it slides back on and it's like really a hidden little note card. And I put it in the end, speaking of the end of that bag. So this part was cut off and I put it in the one side of this, which is a pocket. This is a vintage book page. It looks like a little girl, a little boy, and the mom, and they're wrapping gifts. And then over here is some ribbon. This is one of my printables, and so I threw that in the middle and thought a little candy, mint candy would be cute on there to go with this. And Santa there, and then on the flip side, some green polka dots to go with that. So I tried to correlate. And there's the flip side of that book page and the ribbon. These I showed how to make in my last video. They're paint chips, and I used an embossing folder. I actually used 2 embossing folders on this. I did the snowflake, and then I used one with dots, and I thought it went neat like that. And then this says creamy hot chocolate. This is from KB and Prince. I love him. And like I said, he could be moved and turned into a pocket. This is just a little note paper that you write your gifts on. Who you need to buy for, the gift, the price, and purchased at. And so someone can make copies of that if they need more of them. And that's just in the envelope. Here's another Santa napkin that I put on freezer paper. I love him. The doily, flip side of the doily, and there's the flip side of the ledger paper. This, I just love this deer image from October Afternoon, and I just added some white ball ribbon and liked how it reminded me what the tail looks like on a deer. But that image is just another one of my favorites. This is just note paper that says joy on top. This is one of my printables out of my Ko-Fi. And usually I do tons of interactive stuff, but this time I didn't. I just filled this with lots of October Afternoon. Here's a little pocket, and that says Holly Jolly notepad paper. More note paper. I wanted the buyer to have lots of places to journal. This is two-sided wrapping paper, and I thought it would be neat just to use some ribbon that had some leaves on it, and then I just put little enamel red dots, and I thought it matched with that. This is a greeting card, and another one of my favorite images. I put lots of my favorite images in here. This is just a tag that can be used. I'm going to put that upside down and add a ribbon to it. So this is the envelope that went with this greeting card, and so I used it as pockets in here. This is a playing card that's shaped like a stocking. And then candies to sort of correlate with what's on this page. And then it says our December story. This is like a bookmark. And who was it? I think her name is Silver and Sparkles, made these a couple years ago. And I thought it was a great idea. And I just cut a lot of things in circles and added to it. And then glued some cardstock on the back, and it could work as a bookmark. And each one of the journals has one of those. A shopping list here. Oh, I have 2 pages paper clipped together. So some more stationery. This is an Ideals book page. And all the centers, the majority of them are a little bit different. And so then I did some signature embellishments and on the strings. And I tried to match again the colors in here. So that's an ornament die and a Christmas tree. So it seemed like there was lots of pinks and reds in there. So in each one of these journals, like I said, they're all a little bit different because I used the actual book page from the Ideals. Oh, we got some thread. So here, this is playing cards, Coca-Cola, Santa Claus playing cards. So I just stuck that in the other side of that envelope. Then I turned that into a little top tuck and put another piece of ephemera from October Afternoon in there. This is a gingerbread house tag, and I just wanted it to match the back of the card, and it could be used. It says to from. It has some sparkly bling on it. Here's the other side of that wrapping paper. I folded it down and turned that into a tuck spot. This can be cut up and used throughout here in the journal. Christmas music. This is a Santa Claus, well, Mrs. Claus playing card. And I believe it's like a match game. This is for a letter to go to Santa. So it's stationery for Santa, and it can also be used for journaling. Could be fun to have the kids write on it, or I don't know. Sky's the limit. This is a little bottle cap, milk carton cap, I guess is what they call it. This is from October Afternoon. And here's just some different note paper in here that can be used for journaling or notes. So this is very versatile. This is vintage wrapping paper, and I put some ribbon on here, felt ribbon, that I believe I got from Hobby Lobby. And this was very like brittle and can tear easily, so I backed it with freezer paper. I just ironed it on. In my last video, I tell you how to do it. I love this image. This is a vintage greeting card. And I added some sparkles to the Santa and just love how he came out. And so this is in each one of my journals. This I had a stamp that said special delivery, and then I had another stamp that said North Pole, December 25th. And I used that and this stamp came with it. And this was from Target. And friends of mine in Bible journaling told me about it, and my cousin did too. And I had to run out to get this at Target and thought, this needs to be included in my journal. This was in the dollar section at Target. And so it's a letter to Santa. And it's very thick paper and just made super nice. And I thought, how great would it be just to put this in the tuck spot with Santa? So I believe 4 came in the pack, and it was in the dollar section of Target. I wish I would have got more. I'm hoping my cousin, I think she did. I think she picked up more for me. So I think that just came out neat. And this is from a Christmas craft book. There's Santa, toys, some more paper to write on. This is October Afternoon paper, and this is ephemera from October Afternoon. Like I said, I was determined to use my October Afternoon paper and ephemera. Another ideals page, and inside here was a clock, a snowflake, doily. This is a shaker card, and I even have like the bingo little number in there. I thought that was neat. So, and I believe this is from KB and Prince. I think I had some other stuff I was going to add in. I think I'm going to add that to the pocket. Another one of my favorite images. Maybe I'll write on that. I don't know. To Linda. This is a piece of ribbon that has Santa Claus on it. He can be moved. Happy holidays. The flip side of that craft page. Oh, we're getting to the back. Happy Christmas to all, and all a good night. So this is a bag that I just filled with stuff, and this is a vintage greeting card. I love the font on the inside. It hasn't been used, and even the envelope's there. You could tell it hasn't been used. And just some various paper in there too. We're almost getting to one of my favorite parts. Let's see. This is a calendar for December, and it's for this year. That may be handy in here. And back here, this is October Afternoon paper. And I have hidden pockets where I cut here and put some special stuff in there. And then over here is another pocket, I believe. I think. Anyhow, you could go either way. You could pull this out and put your stuff going that way. But this is one of my favorite parts of the journal. Thanks for coming to my channel. Please like and subscribe. And have a great day.